Oh boy, Harman Smith cannot accept how well Expedition 33 is. Let's check out his new video about mediocre RPGs.
One of the amazing copes among like the mainstream gaming journalism industry right now is this idea that like, oh man, turn-based games, they're making a comeback. I really love Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI because I'm a boomer who doesn't who
Yes, you are correct. Turn-based games are making a comeback for AAA games. That's why we got that great game, Expedition 33. Even though I keep hearing it's a AA game, oh look at that game. That game screams AAA to me. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
who only plays the classics. You know, they don't make games like this anymore. Like, have you not played a Nintendo console?
Like I said, they were referring to AAA games, not the Nintendo games, Harman.
Okay, you know, like I am swamped with turn-based games all the time, whether it's like Fire Emblem or Pokemon or like what have you. As a Nintendo fan, I've been drowning in these turn-based games for decades.
Harman, I understand that it's the time of the month for you and this is the way you do in your mating call, but can you wait until after the video is done, please?
You know, like I have so many of these things I have to get through, and to see people sit there and try and act like, oh man, turn-based RPGs, they're an extinct species.
Harman, what is up with all these hand movements here? This doesn't look good. Honestly, are you having like a mental breakdown or something? Do you need help?
They went the way of the dinosaur. You know, an asteroid hit the planet and just killed. Like, no.
Somehow, if an asteroid ever hit the Earth and wiped out humanity, I still think he would somehow find a way to survive. He is like a parasite that just keeps on going.
How out of touch are you? Do you play anything other than like the flavor of the month, like XRPG? Like, do you know anything outside of like
There's this great game that just came out called Expedition 33, and the only thing out of touch with reality is your hairdo. You need to learn what a comb and a brush is.
Witcher 3? Like, are you like familiar with the genre at all? Like, I can't imagine that anybody who's even remotely familiar with the genre
Okay, I haven't played Witcher 3 in a long time, but I do not remember Witcher 3 being a turn-based RPG.
would ever think that there was ever like a dearth of turn-based RPGs, because that is just completely incorrect. You can argue that like, I want Final Fantasy to be turn-based. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, many of us want Final Fantasy to go back to turn-based.
You know, Final Fantasy should be turn-based, but you also have reasonable alternatives, you know, from the same developers. You know, you do have Dragon Quest, you do have Bravely Default, you do have, like, you know, Saga, or like...
When was the last Bravely Default game that was made? Quit using outdated games that no one really wants to play anymore.
You know, dozens of options, right? And then, of course, you have, like, you know, games from other developers, like Suikoden, like you know, Tales is something I got into recently. Like, you know, there was just, well, Tales isn't turn-based, but like, you know what I mean, right? Like,
No, we don't, Harman. See, you don't even know what you mean.
there are just so many like options out there if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Like, this idea that, like, you know, Persona 5 or like, you know, Atlas specifically, like ushered in this trend is just laughably stupid.
No, they didn't sit there and usher in this new trend. They brought back the old trend is probably what they did. And the only thing laughably stupid about anything in here is your double check.
Because, you know, the most popular RPG on the planet is and always has been turn-based. You know, people love to ignore Pokemon's existence when it comes to this kind of thing.
Probably because no matter how fun Pokemon is for children. That's why Pokemon is #1 a game of the year.
But like, oh, wait a minute. Recently, the talking point has been that Pokemon shouldn't be turn-based, that it's holding the franchise back. You know, I saw that Arlo video. I saw that Blue Muppet.
I mean, does anybody ever take Arlo seriously? This is the first time I've been hearing that Pokemon shouldn't even be turn-based. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the game, so I don't see what else it could be. Maybe they could make it different. It would be better. You never know.
Like, sit there and try and tell us that, like, I want to call out commands like the anime. Like, come on.
I mean, that would be all. Well, you kind of already do that when you already do the turn-based style like you normally do. The only way I could see it being different is if you actually control the Pokemon themselves and each button was a different move.
Come on. Like, the same people who are crying about, like, Nintendo RPGs being turn-based are celebrating this supposed renaissance of turn-based RPGs that never really went anywhere to begin with. If
Harman, I don't know what you're talking about. Are the voices in your head again telling you this? I don't remember hearing anybody ever complain about turn-based RPGs. Now, the ones that I do hear them complain about are usually the ones like Fire Emblem, where they're turn-based, like strategy RPG type thing, or tactics RPGs, what you want to call them, where you have to move them around a board or something. Yeah, a lot of people don't always like those. I'm not a huge fan of them either.
you were a complete pleb and stuck with Nintendo consoles, you know? Like, that's kind of my opinion. Like, whenever people start, like, hyping up, like, bullshit, like Baldur's Gate 3 or Expedition 33, like, do you actually play games? And inevitably, the answer is always no.
Yes, they do play games. Expedition 33 and Baldur's Gate 3 are two amazing games, okay? Expedition 33 is probably going to win Game of the Year. We know no Nintendo game is going to win Game of the Year. You guys got lucky that one year.
You know, because if you actually played RPGs, you would understand that Baldur's Gate 3 is not in any way impressive. You know, you would understand that Expedition 33 is not something that's worth simping over.
Oh, we know you would if they were exclusive to the Switch. You'd be gobbling all over that.
You know, you would understand like the value of Pokemon and like all of Nintendo's like numerous IPs. Like, you wouldn't be sitting there acting as if like turn-based RPGs have become increasingly rare if
They have been. Most RPGs are not generally turn-based RPGs. Now they're going to make a comeback, which I am very excited for. I'm hoping that they could sit there and make a Legend of Dragoon remake. Come on, Sony. Make one of the greatest RPGs to ever exist. Please remake Legend of Dragoon. We need it.
you were actually playing them on Nintendo Hard, right? It's just a gigantic cope, honestly. You know, to me, it just seems like
I mean, yes, you do have some really good turn-based RPGs on the Nintendo. You know, let's look at Pokemon. That's probably your most famous one on Nintendo is Pokemon. Look at what you got on the Switch. You got the Let's Go, which was terrible. Then you sat there and got Sword and Shield, which had the worst story in any Pokemon game to ever exist. Then you got the remake of Pearl and Diamond, and they even give you the Platinum version, so they removed content from there and screwed everybody over. Then you got Scarlet and Violet, which was broken at launch, and honestly wasn't like the story I actually did enjoy, but it was a good start, but they did not sit there and do it correctly the way they want to do Scarlet and Violet.
you know, companies are trying to jump onto the fact that like Final Fantasy is a dead brand and they're trying to become the new Final Fantasy, but like, you know, why exactly are people going along with this? Why are they so desperate?
Well, unfortunately, Final Fantasy has not made an amazing game since 10. Their last great one was 10. I did enjoy 10 too, but it wasn't as good as 10. 13, we can forget about 13. 15, I mean, no one asked for a group of boy band characters that nobody wanted to play. And then you had Final Fantasy 16, which it wasn't bad, but it had way too goddamn many cutscenes. Too damn many. Future developers, do not do that crap again, please.
To convince people that like that we're getting like these great turn-based RPGs when we're really not, you know. It's just kind of embarrassing. And what's more is that like the people who are saying this,
Harman, you haven't even played Expedition 33. Neither have I. I'm about to start playing it soon, hopefully. But that game is so beloved right now. It literally sold 2 million copies in 12 days. It's not going to sell that many if it's not a good game, Harman.
you know, considering the kind of RPGs they play, you know, Persona 5, you know, they don't have any standards. They're absolute bottom of the barrel slop. You know, they don't play anything of value. They spend hundreds of hours, you know.
Only bottom barrel of the slop is you being a Nintendo fanboy. You are so bad that not even Nintendo accepts you. Nintendo wants to hide you down in that basement and keep you away.
like in Persona 5, maxing out social links so they can like, have a sexual relationship with the teacher, right? Like that's the average Persona 5 fan. Instead of going out and talking to a girl in real life, they'll spend hundreds of hours.
Harman, when was the last time that you talked to a girl in real life? Can you please explain to me? You are still a virgin at whatever age you are.
Grinding out like charisma stats in order to like I don't know, like talk to Futaba or whatever. It's like it's disgusting, like
I have never read your books, but I've heard some rumors and stories about how your books are, and I have no want to read your books, so I don't think you have any room to talking if those rumors are true.
There's really no value to like a lot of these like popular mainstream like turn-based RPGs at all. The better ones, the ones that are primarily Nintendo games.
Of course, because it has to be a Nintendo game. You are just so experienced at Talking Point when it comes to turn-based game that you have sat there and went out and played the other ones, but just wait until Baldur's Gate 3 or Expedition 33 comes to like the Switch 3 maybe. Maybe when you have the Switch 3 they'll finally come and then you'll be raving about it. I know the moment you can play Baldur's Gate 3, you're going to want to create Princess Peach in that game.
Have and always have are and always have been completely unnoticed by the mainstream. Like nobody remembers how good like Batten Kaitos was. Nobody remembers like all the great Game Boy Advance RPGs. Nobody really talks about like how great Fire Emblem Engage was.
Okay, all those Game Boy Advance games are from the past. During those times, yes, there was a lot of great turn-based RPGs, but nowadays we don't get that many. Most of all the games you're referring to are either reports or older games that no one's gonna want to play. They want new games with this stuff.
Like turn-based RPGs that are on Nintendo platforms that have gone completely ignored by the masses because it goes against the deeply held narrative that like Nintendo doesn't have RPGs.
No, that's not the narrative. Everyone knows that Nintendo does have RPGs. Honestly, Nintendo has games for everyone when you think about it. They got many different type of genre of games on the Nintendo. But the thing is usually they're low quality. They're usually very handhelding. There's no challenge for them. And again, most of those games are designed for children.
It's definitely it's not something that people openly say anymore, but it's definitely the implication you get.
Oh no, we do still openly say that Nintendo games are for children mainly.
Whenever you listen to these people, like these people don't actually know anything that's out there. They don't actually play any games. They don't actually try anything. As a result of that, they have this very, very warped view of gamer culture. They believe.
Harman, if no one's playing games, it's you. I have seen your live streams. I have occasionally come in and checked in because Gar keeps telling people, oh, go watch his live stream, you'll be entertained. You literally will play a game and switch out games every 30 minutes. Probably because you've already played them, you're bored and you have nothing else to play.
That turn-based RPGs are a dying genre when that really, truly, 100% is not the case. However, we do need to start celebrating the success and popularity of Nintendo's turn-based RPGs because for too long, these games have gone completely ignored.
Just like you and your love life. Well, you've never even had a love life. That's just completely non-existent. Well, that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, men, please wrap it up so you don't produce a Harman Smith. And until next time, stay vigilant.